Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is known as a standout tight end for the University of Minnesota, where he earned all Big Ten honors and helped the Gophers reach their most successful season in over 20 years. Ben then went on to play 6 years in the NFL, where his team, the Indianapolis Colts, became Super Bowl champions in 2006 in the ring. Ben retired from the NFL in 2010 due to his fifth documented concussion. He is now a nationally sought-after speaker, singer, and author, as well as the national spokesperson for the American Academy of Neurology and the American Brain Foundation. Ben now lives in Minnesota with his wife, Karen, and 4 beautiful daughters. Please welcome to the stage a former fantasy football star on my team, Ben Utecht.
Well, good afternoon. How are you doing? Tired? You enjoying yourselves? I mean, how can you not after Gary Zaleski, for goodness sakes? My only criticism of Gary is he's so dull. He's just a dull, he's actually, I met Gary yesterday for the first time, and he's infectious. We became besties overnight. In fact, we became brothers. As you can see, we took this picture last night. No, actually, that's not the picture. Give us an, there it is. There it is. You're a pretty man, Gary.
I didn't know I was that short.
That's fantastic. You know, of all the things that were read in my introduction, the most important thing to me is my family. And literally just 7 weeks ago, my wife and I gave birth to our 4th daughter. No, yeah, thank you. Wait, did you hear what I said? 4th daughter. Help me, please. I really need it. Seriously. No, it's been a joy to be a father of daughters, and quite honestly, it's really taught me so many life lessons about myself as a man. As a speaker, one of the things that I often talk about is vulnerability equals connectivity, and so I'm going to test that today by sharing a story with you about my daughter, my oldest daughter, Alora. Alora was about 5 years old, and I climbed in bed with her one night, and I just had pajama pants on. And as we're cuddling together, Alora starts petting my chest. She just starts petting my chest, and she's staring at me so intensely. And it finally got to that awkward stage, right? Even though it's your daughter, it just got to that point where I knew something was going on in her mind. And let's be honest, parents in the room, I mean, this is the stage where your children, they really do say the darndest things, don't they? They just say what they're feeling, and they say it in such innocence. And so I'm lying there with Alora, and she's just studying my chest, and I finally said, Alora, sweetheart, what are you thinking about right now? And she looked up at me with these big, beautiful blue eyes, blonde hair, and she says, Daddy. I said, yes, sweetheart, you have beautiful nipples. What? I mean, what are you supposed to do with that? I mean, I'm this big football player, and I used to slam people on the ground, and what do I do with that? First of all, you got to get that picture out there. I can't focus. I mean, Gary, you're an attractive man.
Give him more time.
Yeah. Why did I share that story with you? Why did I even share the story about becoming friends with Gary? Why? Because it's a memory. That story with my daughter Alora is an incredible memory that I have that brings relevance to my life as a man and as a husband. After my 5th documented concussion, and at 29 years old facing memory problems, for the first time in my life, I began to care about my mind and my memories. How many of us in this room have memories? Silly question. Close your eyes with me for a second and just go and find one of those memories. Go find a memory with a loved one, with someone you care so much about. Find it. Picture it. See yourself in that memory with them. Hold on to it. Now imagine that memory is completely wiped away. Imagine that it is no longer there. And ask yourself this question: how does that affect the relevance of your life? you can open your eyes. How does that affect the relevance of your life? Relevance being defined as what connects us to the matter at hand, to what's happening in our lives. That's why I'm here today. I'm here to emotionally connect you to the importance of your mind and memories. And when you do, how it will forever change the way that you live your life. He and his wife sat across the table from one of his best friends in college, Matt and his wife, Kim. The conversation quickly turned into wedding stories, receiving reactions of joy from the two wives, but Matt's friend sat in complete silence, lost in a fog of confusion, not understanding why he couldn't remember being there. So he interrupts the conversation. He says, "Matt, why was I unable to be at your wedding?" And Matt really just dismisses the comment as good-natured sarcasm from his friend, but his friend again interrupts and says, "Matt, seriously, why was I not able to be at your wedding?" And the atmosphere changed. The table became very quiet as fear began to fill the room. You know, I pray that I never forget February 4th of 2007. There was a cool Miami, Florida mist filling the Dolphin Stadium as I walked down to the biggest platform in the world on that night. Over 100 million people tuned in to watch the Indianapolis Colts versus the Chicago Bears. Any Bears fans here today? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not that sorry. This is a really cool ring. No. I'm a nice guy. I'm just teasing. But it was truly incredible. And I'll never forget, Bill Polian, our general manager, asked Adam Vinatieri, our all-pro place kicker, who had already won 3 Super Bowl rings with the New England Patriots, to speak to the team, to give us some kind of idea of how big this experience, the magnitude of this experience. And Adam said something that caught my attention. He said, "Men at kickoff, don't blink. Don't you dare blink." So 2 weeks later, there I am on the sideline, the Miami rain slamming into the side of my face. I think it's one of only 2 Super Bowls in the history of the game to rain. And you better believe I was standing there with my eyes as wide open as they could possibly be. Nothing was going to shut my eyes because I remembered what Adam said. Don't blink. And so Adam begins to take his steps back, getting ready to kick the ball. He puts his hand in the air, signifying to the referee that he is ready. He looks down the left and the right side of the kickoff team, waiting for the referee to blow the whistle. The whistle blows, he drops his hand, releasing a stampede of Colts. He approaches the ball, he places his foot perfectly on the inflated pigskin, and it goes soaring into the upper atmosphere of the Miami Dolphins Stadium. And in that moment, I understood what Adam was talking about, because it was the greatest light show of shining, flickering stars that I had ever seen. I've often thought to myself, Neil Armstrong would have been jealous to be in my shoes. It was magical. It was the real version of Dancing with the Stars. Until that ball came out of those stars and landed into the hands of the most deadly return man in the history of the game, Devin Hester, who proceeded to run the football from one end of the field all the way to the other end of the field on the first play of the game. What? Are you serious? A 100-yard kickoff return on the first play of the game, Super Bowl 41? It went from being the greatest athletic moment of my life to the worst athletic moment of my life. I'd be lying to you if fear hadn't already crept into my mind. But I look to my left and there's future Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning, not even giving credence to what just happened. He's talking to offensive coordinator Tom Moore, getting ready to go back on the field. I look to my right and there's Tony Dungy, future Hall of Fame coach, not even paying attention to the celebration in the end zone. Instead, he's also preparing, getting ready for the Colts response. And in that moment, I knew it would be all right. And it was. Seconds later, the clock counted down, and history was made as the Indianapolis Colts defeated the Chicago Bears 29-17. Friends, this is one of the greatest memories in my life. And it gives me so much relevance as a man and as an athlete. 2 years later, after signing a new contract with the Cincinnati Bengals, I awake face down on a training camp field after being knocked unconscious for over 90 seconds. And that was it. That was the end of my hope-filled career. I went on to an 8-month rehabilitation process to try and find normalcy once again. And at 29 years old, having to retire from a game that you love to play due to concussions, due to brain injuries, it was really challenging. And I began asking myself questions, one, that would forever change the way that I live my life. And that's the question I'm here to ask you today. How differently would you live your life today if you knew the moment you lose your memories? I mean, really let that sink in for a second. How differently would you live your life today if you knew the moment you would lose your memories? You see, that the thought of losing my memories is a reality for me because of playing a game I'm 29 years old, already facing significant long-term memory gaps, looking at the results of 87 of 91 autopsied former NFL players' brains being diagnosed with the brain disease CTE. It's a challenging thing to face. And it brought me to that proverbial fork in the road that we all face at times in our lives, don't we? Of how are you going to choose to react to this situation? And so I found myself asking that question. Okay, but what I discovered is that it taught me that the relevance of my life resides within my mind and my memories. Think about this. The essence of what makes us human is our mind and our memories. We're all here listening to wonderful speakers, experiencing life only because of what you have inside of your head. And so I began to sit back and ask myself, how is this going to change my life? Noted speaker Dr. Wes Feltner once said, what we believe about our future directly impacts the way we live our lives today. Think about that. Isn't that true? What we believe about our future directly impacts the way we live our lives today. It inspired me to ask myself that question. Well, how has my life been transformed by the consequences that I face because of brain injury and because of an uncertain future? And I began to see an incredible pattern. I discovered 4 transforming dynamics that would forever change my life and were the dynamics that led the Indianapolis Colts to Super Bowl championship success. Much of this coming from the expertise of Tony Dungy and the environment that was created in Indianapolis on that day. The 4 L's has become the pillar of my life, and it is this: listening, learning, language, and love. Listening, learning, language, and love. They were essential in building a championship team and championship leaders. Even more importantly, I discovered that they are successful foundations for all of our lives. If we can become better listeners, better learners, better language users, and people who love and respect people more deeply, we will find much more success in not only our personal lives, but in our businesses. And in my full presentation, that's what I do. I bring you into the huddle with Peyton Manning, with Tony Dungy. I connect you to what's truly important, what matters, so that you no longer take certain things for granted, like I did. And I provide 3 takeaways for each of the L's. Listening involves stop, look, and care. Learning requires question, execution, and evaluation. Language asks, what are you saying? Why are you saying it, and how are you saying it? And love reveals value, trust, and affirmation. Now, as I conclude, let me just touch a little bit on love, because whenever we say the word love, especially in business, all of our toes kind of curl, don't they? Ooh, what are you talking about when you use that word? I'm not talking about romantic love here. Okay, this is not roses and flowers. No, this is going much deeper than that, into asking the question of how do we truly value people? How do we truly value people? Here's a great example. I recently spent time with Eric Stordahl, a lean manufacturing expert for Toyota, who was teaching me about the mission, the foundation of Toyota's success, one of the greatest manufacturing companies in the world. And he said this, written within their mission statement is the philosophy that the first and most important thing about part of their business is love and respect for their employees. The Japanese expression for this is ningen seisanshu, and it translated into English, it says this, to hold precious that which makes us human. To hold precious that which makes us human. Can you imagine how that can change your life and change your business if you actually treated your relationships that way? But that's what Tony Dungy did with the Indianapolis Colts. That was his whole job, was to come in and take 53 guys from different parts of the country, from different backgrounds and different beliefs, and somehow get them to come together in the greatest team in the year and create a family. And that's what he did. And he did it because he taught us as players how to value each other, how to truly respect each other, how to truly have faith within each other. In fact, on our Super Bowl ring is the word faith. It's the only ring in the history of the game to have any spiritual connotation. And it's not talking about a specific denominational faith. It's talking about family. Right? 53 guys all together on the same page at the same time, coming together. And what can happen when that relationship works? As I close, I want to share a video with you that really is an example of how love changed my life, of how memory loss really changed the way I loved my family, the way I was as a husband, a father, a friend. And what did that mean when I no longer took it for granted? So thank you for the opportunity to share this story with you. This is called You Will Always Be My Girls.